Okay, I can get rid of that sticky note now. All right, and if you're not on video or audio, please open your mic up so that we can all say hello and be a part of this together. Um, and Sonia, I'm just going to ask you maybe if you would mute yourself just because I can hear something in the background, maybe. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so some people I know, some people I don't know. You're new to this, and those that I don't, thank you for showing up and being a part of this happening. I really appreciate it. I appreciate being able to bring you what I can this evening and what we're all going to simultaneously work within, because this is a collaboration together. And so I'd like for if you, well, we're going to give it another minute or two, because people are still coming in, and if you're unmuted, you are muted, you can unmute for a moment so that we can all, come on in. Yeah, great, great, great. And drop in the chat where you're coming in from. I'd love to know where everybody's coming from. So today is 10/10. It's a very special day. It's a day that is, the portal is open, and on certain days it's just open more than others, but on these significant dates like mirroring numbers like 9/9, 10/10, 11/11, 12/12. These are all, and all the way through the calendar, these are very special times because the portals are open. And a portal is a sacred gateway, and it invites you to release, to realign, and to rise, to remember your divine nature, your divine codes of sovereignty, unity, who you are, the magnificent soul that you really are. And I think many of us forget that we are really magnificent souls. And it's reconnecting with the cosmic councils and the higher guidance as well, because those gateways are open. And this is when they have the greatest opportunity to show up and to speak with us and to anchor in the codes speaking to our codes. And so they anchor the frequencies into your field. And we step in consciously into the next phase. So you've got this very special time right now where we're going to be stepping into this. Hi, Barbara. Good to see you.
You too. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. Okay, so I have this really kind of funny joke I saw at an alien expo that I was just at not long ago. And it cracked me up. It really did. So I'm going to just pose it to you. Okay. So how do aliens buy coffee? Anybody know? With Starbucks.
Oh.
I thought that was awful cute. I really like that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Super easy to remember too, right? Because I'm not a great joke teller, but I do happen to like that one. I thought that was a real hoot.
Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, sure. So I just want to introduce myself to those of you that may know me and those that may not know me. I'm going to give you some information about myself. I'm Laurie Wheeler. I'm a quantum light alchemist and a luminary futurist. And I'm a transceiver for multiple interdimensionals and extraterrestrial beings and light. And very specifically tuning into a five council galactic star group who are Arcturian, Pleiadian, Lyran, Sirius, and Andromedan. And they came together and they counseled and put together some coded information, and I transmit that information. So I'll probably talk about that toward the end or somewhere after this. But I work in psychometry, which is the reading of information through my hands. So people give me things to read. Um, People ask me to read all kinds of things, and so some of that information actually comes through my hands, and it just transmits just like as if you're hearing a message through your ears. So my work entails bridging science and energy together. I love that. I've always been a believer and didn't need the science to prove it, but I think there are people that really want to see the science, and I love to see the science. It validates what we already know or what we feel we are in tune with, and it puts it into more of what I think is a visual, so that we can actually see it and understand it better. And so I've collaborated with Dr. Glen Rein, who's a quantum biologist, and we've worked together on research science to validate the subtle energies and the effects on DNA and water. And so, and also the light carrying measurable information as well. So we've been doing some experiments for some years now and validating and quantifying this information, which now has been written up and published. And he actually takes it away across the puddle, I'll say, to his people that he's involved with in science, and shares the information that he and I have been working on. I also speak light language from the light beings, and I'll share with you that I do not know who the light beings are. The reason they tell me that they are just the light beings is to keep this very pure and without question. So, and I serve as a spiritual mentor as well. So, and something that I think a lot of people really do not know, and I often forget to say, is I even have assisted detectives through bilocation and spiritual insight on resolving cold cases. So a few years ago, I especially did a pretty hard case that was had gone cold for quite a few years, and they were able to find the missing person and put to rest for her family and such. So that was really interesting for me to do that as well. So yeah, I've been involved with that way back many years ago, even when I lived outside of Woodstock, New York. So, all right. Well, what I'd like to do, as most of us are here at this moment, is I'd really like to spend just 1 minute. I usually like to do this when we have a gathering, to spend 1 minute and put our energy where it's needed. And I think today is kind of an important day also, because there's a lot going on in the Middle East and in other countries that have been at war for a while. And there was some information that came in from the Gaza Strip today that there has been some type of an impasse. So, without talking too much about what's going on, if we could all just align ourselves for just a moment, and I'm going to hold this in the energy. And if you can just in your field, in your imagination, because your imagination is conscious imagination and it carries an imprint that goes out into the web of the earth and into all of consciousness. And so we're going to take this 1 minute and send out love and light and peace around the world. So if you hold in your mind's eye the globe, the earth, Mother Gaia, and ask and intend and desire for love and light and peace, and send that out through the web of consciousness throughout the globe for 1 minute and hold that energy there in your mind's eye, in your intention. I'll give you a moment.
Sit down.
So I'm just going to bring you all back now, and I'm going to mute you all, okay, at this moment. And just coming back, I give thanks for all of you at this moment that we could do this, because when there is more than one gathered, as we come together, our energy is high. It is a high frequency and vibration when we are all intending the same thing. Amazing, amazing things happen. So I thank you for taking the time to do this today. So let's get on with it. Let's talk about the codes of light. So some of you are new to this. So in reading the information that came through, some are new, some really don't have a great understanding of what the codes of light are, or some have questions about this, how it works. So I'm going to begin with some information. I always feel it's good to understand what it is we're doing. Maybe that's my analytical brain, but I love understanding deeper and deeper. And so what are codes of light and why are they beneficial? So these are packets of photonic intelligence. This is actually information encoded in frequency. And now, everybody knows what coded information is, like you've done barcodes, when you go to a store and they scan and they read the barcode. So this is the same thing. Everything is coded. You are a walking code of multi codes, okay? And you're holding information in a greater capacity, okay? By this encoded information that's in you, this light that you are and that comes into you. And it bypasses the linear mind and it speaks directly to your DNA and your cellular biological consciousness. It awakens dormant strands of DNA. So now we know we have two that are intertwined and they move around, vibrating and rotating around each other, but there are more strands. And actually, science has found that they have seen where there are 3 strands, and they're even saying that there are possibly 4 strands. Now, this is science. We know there are more, but this is science actually speaking about this, which, this is a good thing that science is catching up to spirit, to what's going on, right? And I love being a part of that. So, and it releases distortions by activating remembrance. So one way they do it as well is to communicate with biophotons. Now, photons of light these are photons of light in the ultraviolet and low visible light range that are generated within the body. So you're generating this now, even though you can't tell or you can't see. And they can be measured as they emanate from your skin. So you actually can see it under a certain kind of certain lighting. And we know there are also sea creatures that luminesce and generate light as well. So the heart also, and I love this, just listen to this. The heart emits photons as well. And it's a particle in a wave pattern in the quantum field that it emits. And the heart center, on average, emits 20 biophotons a second. Now you think per second, 20 biophotons, okay? Yeah, when you meditate on the heart center, when you come into your heart center, and you send love and light the way we just did, a person emits 100,000 photons a second. What? Goes from 20 to 100,000 just coming from your heart center. It's quite a difference. So look at what we've just put out into the energy field. All that beautiful light, heart-centered light out all around the world. So now I want to explain a little bit about the two different channels that I work with, and they kind of intermingle at times. I work with two different distinct sources of transmitted energy of light codes. And it's the one is galactics, and that's encoded light that brings like a measurable energetic light. They're patterns. We can detect them in the biofield. I've actually written them down on paper. They're in our systems. And then there's light language from the light beings, and that's multidimensional, and it's conveyed sometimes through tone and sound and symbols as well. But both are about awakening us up across the timelines. So, I just want to be clear that everybody understands time only exists here on Earth in a linear manner, and it's here for certain reasons. We go day by day. We think today's today, tomorrow's tomorrow. But in actuality, there are, oh gosh, thousands and thousands and thousands of timelines going on simultaneously. In other words, you are elsewhere other than here, okay? A lot happening. And I think we're connecting in more as time goes on to this. We're having a realization in one way or another. And so, so these codes of light, they speak across these timelines, and they awaken us to remembering what's going on. And when I say remembering, it's like, when I think of remembering, it's like something from the past, but it's really not the past. It's a simultaneous happening. So it's just waking you to another moment that's occurring simultaneously. So this is bridging science and spirit, and where the quantum and the sacred meet together, and they do meet together. And when we merge these, and I'm speaking of what's measurable and what's cosmic right now, we reestablish a coherence between our light body and the physical form. So our light body, we don't see our light body all the time, but it does exist, okay? And when you go into certain fields, you can see it. You are aware of it. And some can see it, some cannot see it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I want to just share a little bit about the science of all of this. And I'm going to just put some music on right now that's also going to help you sort of entrain to the lower frequencies, so that you will absorb the light a little bit more than coming from this particular brainwave that you're in right now. So I'm just going to put some on. Okay. And I want to talk about a particular experiment that I did. I want to talk about the light and bringing light into water, into plain H2O tap water. And it made a significant change. It changed the molecular structure. And now I was doing this with the quantum biologist. And so he collected data of the water prior to, and then after the light entered, okay? And I actually got to see the compound change before my eyes. I could see it in my visual. And then when we measured it, we actually saw there was a difference in the water. And it was just from bringing the light into the water. I also did this with water and asked it to change. And what it decided to do was it changed the compound as well into carbolic acid. Now, I didn't know the particular element of carbolic acid. I didn't know what that looked like, the molecules, hydrogens, oxygens, carbons. Okay. So I had to look it up afterward. And I found out it was carbolic acid. And I looked up what does that do to the body because I knew it had some significance. And what that does is it neutralizes water into a great pH balance of the system. So it was no accident. It was purposeful and with great intention that the light shifted this into this particular compound. So the light has this ability to do this. Okay, so during the experiments, this is what the light said to me. I asked the light to tell me more information. And it said to me, the energies come into the water to raise the vibratory frequency capability. And while accessing the stable structure of, we know what it looks like. It's a hexagon when we look at molecules and that, when you look at the periodic table, it's all molecules, right? And so I'm not going to get into that part of it, but hydrogen and oxygen have two hydrogens and one oxygen, and it began to reconfigure the molecules, and it must change these in order for more light and more energy to be held in the water structure. And I thought, wow, I didn't even ask for that. It just did it all by itself. And it also said to me, we are like a kaleidoscope. We're fractal, and being fractal is a spectrum, and it holds one space. And if you've ever looked through a kaleidoscope, if you slightly move it, or change it, it turns into something different. And this is exactly what it was explaining to me. The light is explaining this to me. And so for a fraction of a moment, a fractal or in the kaleidoscope, it's one thing. And then something in the environment happens. Like I asked to bring the light and for it to do what it needs to do. I didn't know what it was going to do. I just asked it to do. And the environment changed because I asked it, and it changed the coded information that was held within it. So this is a part of regeneration and has a part in self-repair as well. It shifts the whole compound. Now, you are a compound. You're a multi-compound of blood and bone and all different aspects of yourself, fluids, whatnot, in your system, right? So if it can change light in speaking to the light that is within every single cell that exists within you, then it can also help regenerate as well. So this is why this is important. And how it does this is it comes by way of a transference from the environment to the biomolecules. So that's what it did. The light came in and it came through a transference. So another aspect of this is also as energy speeds up. So when I'm working with people, I actually can see their field of energy begin to speed up. Sometimes you feel like as you're meditating, maybe you get warm, or you have a certain part of the body that feels warm, or maybe there's a part that actually feels cool, where maybe that's a stagnant energy. But whatever the temperature is, as it begins to speed up and create heat, the temperature changes. So what does that do? Well, what this means is that the atoms that exist within you, that you are made up of, they rearrange themselves while this is happening, and it's creating more heat. And then they bond differently to form new with different, it becomes different characteristics. So like the H2O, and then when they added light, I could see the hydrogens and oxygens change, and it changed it into structured water. So you ask, well, why is that important? Because our whole system is, well, I'm going to get into that in a minute. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. Okay. But it causes the molecules to vibrate more vigorously. And that means more electrons show up. So, okay, big deal, right? This happens after information is offered into the field. And then this is different than changing. It actually changes the structure. So if you have some stagnant energy, if you're suffering with something, some kind of a physical something, okay, it has the capability, you have the capability of working with the light and shifting this and changing the vibration. And this is the energy that's speeding up, and it's like it's becoming aware of itself. Like the light tells me it's like changing octaves. It's very smooth. It goes from one octave to another. You know, like if you've ever toned, you go, ah, and I'm not a singer, you know, but just going one octave at a time. And there's space between them. And it's very smooth changing it. And this is part of the restructuring of yourself. So, okay, now I've just done, I don't want to talk anymore or too much about this, but I want to begin to prepare our water. So everybody grab a hold of your water if you would. And if you don't have your water with you, please grab a glass of water or something that contains water. Okay, and I'll just give you a second to get your water, and I'm going to have a sip of my water, and you can as well. And maybe even take note of what it tastes like, because it's going to taste different after we work with the light. All right. So we're going to begin by preparing our water, because water is the conductor. And you know, like I was talking about before, we're more than 60% of structured water. I think anywhere from 60 to 70. There's probably dispute about how much exactly, but I'm just saying roughly, okay? And the water carries information. And now I know water carries information because water outside of ourselves carries information as well. I happen to know because many years ago I studied about water. Without getting into those details, I studied and found out a lot of information about water. And I actually found out through toxic water. And I found that water can actually go uphill. Okay, it doesn't have to come downhill. It can go in any direction. And everything it goes over, everything it flows over, it carries a part of that in its signal, and it carries it with. So you are made up of all this water and all this information running throughout your system, right? And it's carrying all this information. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this, okay? And I want you to hold your glass of water, because this becomes the physical vessel for today's light, okay? And you can take this amount of water that you have, and when you've drank most of it, you can take a little bit of that, even if it's just 1 or 2 drops, and you can add it to other water. And that, remember what I just said, will now carry information into your new water, and you can keep carrying it, okay, over and over and over, okay? So what I want to do now that I've given you the science and the background, because I did want you to understand a little bit about this and the importance of this, because I really think a lot of people really don't have this information, and I happen to think it's important. So now that the music has been playing and it's been bringing us into a different brain wave, okay, because it's carrying certain coded frequency information, that information to bring us into a certain brainwave, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it back a little bit again, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my voice down a little bit, okay? And now I would like to bring in the light beings and ask them to bring what they need, what they feel that needs to come into our energy field, into us. And so as they do, if you're not familiar with light language, it comes in a communication that is not a language that is understandable to humanity, but it speaks direct to your DNA and your field of energy, and it imprints coded information to your DNA and into your field. And your DNA is like an antenna, which transmits and receives information constantly. And so calling in, activating the light language for them to come in and speak the language that needs to send information to you in the way that it does. Oh, they are happy to see you all here, interested in bringing more light to you. They want you to know that not all of this will be translated into an understanding for yourself. Some will, some won't, but understand you are receiving at this very moment. You may receive physical feelings, tingling, any type of feeling. You may experience emotional. You may experience nothing. It does not matter. It is transmitting anyway. Oh, and so they are talking about the sphere that energy that you are encased in. You are like what we call the above the 7 chakras. You have a field, several fields around you where information is transmitted. And so they are transmitting at this moment into those fields, bringing light into you, into the water, into all of you that is in the field. And there will be several of those beings that will be speaking on behalf for you. Bringing it in. They ask that you pay attention to your field around you. So it would be like as if you rubbed your hands, for a few moments, and then you begin to feel your energy field. Okay. So begin to feel your energy field around you. Pay attention. What is the sensation? Take note of it. And now they speak direct to the water, and they're infusing the water simultaneous as they shift the water into what is needed at this moment. And they ask that you take a sip of your water. They ask that you do not have resistance to what is happening here, but to allow, just allow, even if there is a lack of understanding, to allow this to penetrate, to come into you, to begin to open your mind, open your mind, open your heart, open your field. This is a safe place to open your field. And they are transmitting into the DNA. Chula, palala miko, fita papatitu waki, mo fala leko, papaitu, fati miko, chucho, oh, no, ila, igna, ma, chilo, fipa, uchu. Speaking direct to the heart. Waya. La Pikoaya. Charlie Miko. Opening the third eye. And the signals that are received and sent through the third eye. Pika Rina Chika Maliko Chiko Aya Dai Ma Chilo Fito Watu Vatna Ma Ya Maya Hai no Baya La Mu Futu Wahia Maluba Siuma kiva nino papapinu wahila Chomova working in the field, shifting the energy, the frequency, the vibration, so it resonates in a different frequency. Miko Vayana Machiwayu Waya Ha malalilu ay no mahaya ni tika hita la beka no 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 wa e no mina wahi kiku wa nu chala rapitu kuan chama chiko wa chinama Nala wakina piccolo fitna mapaxilla nya ufala. Oh, so working very primarily on the lower part of the body at this point, because this is where a lot of old patterning is held in a person. So from below the heart, they are speaking direct. Oh, Chalika Baba Diduaki, allowing the energy to flow through so it may speak and bring light in. Oh, Chola, Haya, Malalaika Towahi, Ho, no Ma Ilala Baba Kuduwahi, Chili. Daba petit kapa de da wakina mama chila kita baba kita da wafujido no why oh pulling it down anchoring you into the earth's pulse so you may resonate with the earth like Ursula, Dua, Chikoma, bringing that back up through the bottom of the feet, up through the body, up through the legs, pelvic, into the torso, into the chest, into the neck, into the head, and above and out into the other chakras that are connecting all of you together. La la minkita papa chita taba bidu wa batai la ta do wa chiti do wa ayena na bakutu wa chi la 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 fina na ba kika na wa chi ala la ngo wa bitila di da da do fada da baga da wa o fi da ba ba no wa fu ya la 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 ba da 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 ba ba ti do wa hai ma la lo wa ba ko ta shula ba ba ki di no wa ha no wa la 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 ba ki na ma ka ta ya ba ba nam no fo ba bi tu wa ya Chua ka mi ko fi ka la le o fi ka mane tu fahi ko na na pi ka la le wa fuwa no na pi la ine no fi ka ni wa nya mi la le ko pai ne wa hika Lala mima o ko fina ma fushela chita mama di gova. So just be with this for a moment. Come into your awareness of your physical, of your sensations. Bringing light into the water, into your being. into your field. And this is the blessing of the light, to work with the light, to be encoded with new material, new information, new codes that are coming in today, especially as the gateway is open, and bringing from those the galactics that choose to, because the frequency is higher, they are capable of resonating with many of those who are willing to listen, ready to receive. And so now, as you continue to receive and will continue, you may notice where your mind is, where your thoughts are, how you feel in your body. And just take a moment to experience that. Okay. So we give thanks to all those that are here, that have come on our behalf through the portal to bring us what we need in this very moment. And so it is. So it is. So it is. So what I just want to do for a moment is I just want to do a little integration and reflection. So as the light settles in, like I said, notice the sensations in your body. You may have tingling or warmth. You may have some clarity. It may take some time for that to come through. Sometimes it's an aha moment. It may come through your dreams. So I want you to take a sip of your water now. It now holds the coherent frequency you received. Remember, whatever you think, you feel, and you believe, it shapes your field. So choose thoughts that are aligned with the light you just anchored. So I'm going to ask at this time, before we do a grounding and a closing, if anybody would like to share what their experience was. I'm going to, I think maybe, let's see. I can unmute everyone and you can unmute yourself, and just if anybody would like to share, I'd love to hear from you. And I'm sure the rest of the group would like to hear from you as well.
Oh.
Come on, don't be bashful. And if you receive nothing, that's all right too. Or we're not aware of it.
Right when you started, Laurie, this is
Okay.
Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
Hi.
Thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you. Right when you started, I got full body chill. The hair on my arm just stood straight up and I got like a wave of just like emotion. It brought tears to my eyes right away.
Hmm. And how do you feel? What do you think it was communicating to you, if you have any thought
Um,
about that?
it's like I understood it when you were talking, but now like after it's done, I couldn't tell you. But like when you were speaking, it was like I knew.
Yeah, that's not uncommon because
Oh,
you're in a different brain wave, and that actually happens. It really does happen. That's
okay.
not uncommon at all. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's happening more and more now as time is shifting for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you. Carol?
My experience was extraordinary, and I started to use light language. It's like you triggered my light language to a broader, higher, more expansive space.
Oh, that's
It was so dynamic. I don't even know what it was. It was just beyond my usual light language experience. I have a question.
please.
My work has been focused on intuitive consciousness.
Mhm.
I don't, and today you just gave me, there is a connection between the DNA and the intuitive function,
Mhm.
and I don't know that connection. So maybe you could say something to me, and I'm going to try to write it down, about the connection between the DNA and the intuitive function. My experience of the intuitive function, my scientific research, it's a different function than the thinking function.
Yes.
It operates from the soul and connects to higher consciousness, spirit. It is receiving and giving. It's like thinking of like a flowing energy that's in constant use and providing and giving, receiving information. Where does the DNA come in this?
Well, the DNA stores all of the information,
Okay.
just as your spirit does. But your DNA is also a part of your physical form too, because you have a physical DNA and you have a spiritual DNA. One wraps around the other, the spirit, okay, DNA. And they're in constant communication, and the intuition comes through and speaks to the DNA, and they share information together.
Where does soul come into this? My experience, soul is the individual, that the essence that moves
Yes,
from lifetime to lifetime,
right.
provides information through the heart, and the heart is the connector to the divine.
Yeah.
So weave in the DNA with the soul. I'm not sure how to put this together.
Okay. Well, that's a really good question, and it's a very intricate question. But so I just explained about the DNA is your and your intuition works through your higher self and coming into your DNA to speak together. Your soul, your soul is a portion of who you are. Or let me see if I can explain it. So let's just take 100%, okay?
No,
Maybe,
I know the soul. I have
okay,
information on the soul. I
okay.
don't have information on the DNA. This is the new piece for me that you've just introduced to me. And I'm just trying to weave it together. And I know the soul, the DNA is the part of us that is open and receptive to shift, to change.
Yes, the
Whereas
DNA.
the DNA,
Yes,
whereas the soul,
the DNA has what we'll call markers, okay? Not only biologically, okay, but the spiritual part of DNA also has encoded lifetimes, okay? And there are times that are dormant and not engaged, and time that is engaged. And repeating patterns also are transmitting through the DNA. This is why we want to bring light into the DNA to disengage, not get rid of, okay? Because you're not going to get rid of it, but disengage that which no longer is really necessary to be running in your field.
You gave the key. The key is the repetitive behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah.
The soul, I won't go into the extents of the soul. I have much more to say on that. I won't. But what you gave me was the soul has the knowing of the repetitive behaviors, and it's through thought, emotional reactors, beliefs that
Right.
can be shifted through the conscious work with the DNA.
Right. Right.
Is what shifts the behavior.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, key.
And there's your aha.
Oh, there's my aha. Big aha. Big. Now, the DNA provides offers information through the intuitive function. Does that sound appropriate?
Yes. Yes.
Good. I'm good.
Yes. And it needs a lot of further explanation, but we can't do this evening. But that might be open for another conversation and another gathering.
I'm ready. Oh,
all right. Yay. Anyone else? Thank you, Carol, so much. Anyone else have anything to share about what they might? Barbara, are you raising your hand, Barbara?
I am. I
Okay.
am.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you, and I felt different things at the different times, but I also was excited about learning new things and being open. And I say I'm trying to talk. My son is trying to get ice out of the machine. It's been kind of, I had to leave and go pick him up and da 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 da. But I did feel that when you were calling in the light bodies or whatever, when they were communicating with you and you were communicating with us, originally, like some of the other people, I felt emotional. I felt the tears. And then I felt like comfort, and then I felt encouraged, and then at the end I was feeling love and peace.
Oh, beautiful. And
So
that's usually how they work. So most of the time when I work with them, the light beings, they'll begin the activation, and then you can feel some of that pain that comes up. They're lifting it, they're bringing it so that you can release that part of it and then know more of who you are, the real you that's really underneath it. And so they're giving you, you have a shadow and you have the light within you, right? And so first the shadow shows up, but to disengage that part of it so that the light really can make its way through. And that's why sometimes we go through a little bit of an emotional feeling. I do too when I work with them. I mean, just the other day I went through an intensive, it was really intense. And I thought, wow, I thought I had already felt that, but boy, more of it coming up. And releasing. And it really left me feeling different afterwards, like coming more into myself. And that's what it is. It's this constant, it's like getting a broom and sweeping it out the door. You're not done sweeping it out, and the wind blows in and sweep it back out again, until it's completely where we know who we really are, and yeah, so that's very common, actually. And thank you so much for sharing.
I'm grateful to be a part of it. It was, really interesting watching the communication of you and the hands and the movements and the tonal, I am a musician and a vocalist, and just the different tones I was like, wow, you know.
Yeah, there's different beings that come in, and you can tell when different ones come in. I can feel the difference and I can hear the difference as well. So that's why, they're together, the light beings, more than one, and yet all one. So, and not more than that. So, anyone else want to share? Thank you so much, Barbara, for saying.
I'll share. This
Okay,
is Sonia.
sure.
Okay. So what I experienced and I'm still experiencing is when as you start getting into the meditation, it was a lot of a rush of energy that came down and throughout my whole body, and it just started vibrating inside. Um, Very intense though, pressure, like if it's like twisting, wavy, like if I'm like strings of energy just like pulling and expanding and inside the body. Um, and then when you were speaking the light language, it starts sounding familiar to me.
Oh,
Um, um,
mm-hmm.
it was like I know the language, I heard the language before. And what it took me back to is like China or somewhere.
Oh, yeah. People have said that it kind of sounds a little bit like Chinese. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's what
Yeah,
we know is familiar to us. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's what it sounded like. It was
Yeah.
like somewhere in China. I heard it before. But right now, my whole crown is like shaking and vibrating and twisting, and I just feel more connected to the body, to my body. I know it's something going on, um, because the whole body is lately is starting. I noticed that it's starting to feel lit up
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole body. Before it was just more like in the upper part,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm starting to feel the light more down into my feet, all the way through my whole body.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's
They're
been my
connecting
experience.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear more as time goes on, what your experience is. Please let me know. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I will.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sonia.
Mhm.
All right. Anyone
Laurie?
else? Marcella? Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, it took away all the tension I had in my neck and shoulders that I've had all day. So thank you very much.
Wonderful.
And then I started getting kriyas from the base of my spine, and I am still getting them intermittently. And then I felt very caring frequency in my third eye.
Oh, great. Hmm.
So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank them. I'm just the conduit. Wonderful. All right. Well, anyone else that would like to share? Thank you, Marcella.
Sure.
Okay, so let's do just a few moments of grounding and closing at this moment, and then I have something else to share with you, and then we can call it an evening. I know we're running a little bit over, but we're on their time, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So I just want to bring awareness to your feet. And I want you to imagine that you can see roots extending into the earth at this very moment, grounding these new frequencies. Some of that we experienced through the light language. And so re-experiencing it, the roots extending into the earth, grounding these frequencies, these new frequencies that have just come in through the light beings, through the galactics, through the portal of 1010 today. So we want to thank the Galactic Council and the light beings for their presence today. Thank your own soul for remembering. There were a few of you that thought this was familiar and such. It is. You have this, is a part of you. That's why it feels familiar. Take a deep breath. You are radiant. You are light. And remember, as always, keep shining your light. Always, you are light. So thank you for being here. I just want to share with you all that some of you know that I am doing a trip to Egypt in February. And if that speaks to you, please let me know. Or you can go to my website and get the details at wellnesswithin.net. And we had a most amazing, magical
Touch.
time last year, but we're going again in February. We're going to do a few different new things. And we're going to this time spend 4 hours in the King's Chamber. Everybody gets to have time, real time in the sarcophagus.
Denzel.
It is so amazing being in the King's Chamber, being between the paws of the Sphinx, being at Isis's temple, being at the Coptic Center where Yeshua, Jesus, was and his family for some time when he was really little. All these places are so very special and carry very special vibrations. So if this speaks to you, check out the website, wellnesswithin.net. Okay, and now I want to tell you something. One more thing before we close. So what we did today with the light and the galactics as well, I have some products that I have transmitted this information into. One of them of which is tape. And this is kinesiology tape. You can take and cut pieces and put it on your body, and your body will receive those codes. You speak to it, you engage it, and it will shift. And I haven't put it up on my website yet. I'm getting ready to launch it in maybe a week or two, but because we're on tonight, I just wanted to share it with you. I also I'll be putting bracelets on as well, encoding them. So if you're at all interested, let me know, or check out the website in a couple of weeks. It'll be in the store on my website. And lastly, if you'd like to book a discovery session, you can do that on my website too at wellnesswithin.net/contact. So I just want to close and say thank you to all that participated. Each and every one of you, thank you so much for being here tonight, for receiving. You are light. You will be sending this light out to others as you have your presence with others. And just remember, you are the light, and just to keep shining your light. So thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. Lovely to see you, and God bless you, Laurie.
Same to you, Marcella.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a blessed
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.